Welcome to the STA Podcast with your host, Daryl Speedy Smith.
What's good, everyone? This is Speedy Training Academy coming to you. Daryl Smith, CEO of Speedy Training Academy. I have one of my guys here today. Wanted to touch bases with him on some of the things he has going on. He was at one point an athlete with me, and he went on to do things afterwards. And I would like to talk to him about what he got going on and what he did after that. If you don't mind, introduce yourself to him.
My name is Shura Brewer, originally from Memphis, Tennessee, graduate of Bolton High School, class of 2008, then went on to Lane College, class of 2012, and then went and received my master's degree at Harding University and Belton University.
Okay, cool. So I heard you say earlier, and I'll go ahead and say he mentioned both in high school. That's where I actually coached football, basketball, and track in high school back in Memphis, Tennessee. And that was where we actually met up. And that was going to be my first question. How did we meet and how did things get started there? So if you don't mind, would you like to elaborate a little bit about the sports you played there under me?
Okay, so I think it was maybe like my sophomore year, going into my junior year, when the coaching changes and everything was going on. We had a new coach come in, a new head coach come in. You came in and to be the running backs coach at Bolton High School under Joe Welch. And it was a learning experience, like just opened my eyes to a lot of things, did both football and track. Um and so yeah, that's pretty much the biggest ordeal like that going through that coaching change as a young age going to high school. You don't think much about it,
Right.
but it was it was just one of those times where a head coach had been here for so long, and then the coaching change started, and it is what it is. You got to keep the ball rolling. You got to keep your boots on the ground, and change comes. You just gotta keep your head down and keep working.
Definitely can make a difference, man. It could be a shell shock to you when you're starting over. A lot of people don't adapt to that well, but then you have some that just move right along with the flow.
Hmm.
So, so for me, and it's crazy because that year with you guys was my first high school year. I
Hmm.
did middle school for about 5 or 6 years prior to that, and actually one of the principals at the time, which is the AD, Chad Stevens, he
Hmm.
saw me working with the middle school program and asked to come have a meeting with the high school. Long story short, man, I ended up coaching football, basketball, and track that same year.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I got connected with you guys on the high school side of things. And,
Hmm.
and
I
glad,
had no idea about
um,
that.
yes, man, yes, that year when you guys got started with the high school deal, that was my first year at Bolton. But prior
Hmm.
to that, I did a lot of middle school work, head coaching, and directed middle school programs. But then they also knew that I was an AAU track coach and stuff like that outside of there. So word got back to them. They wanted to meet with me, man, and from there the sky was the limit. They kind of offered everything and said, "Hey, we want you aboard."
Hmm.
So that's kind of how I met with Coach Welch, and he heard a little bit about my background. He actually seen some of the work I was doing because actually, for about 3 years, I was working with Bolton, helping the middle school program, and they kind of saw how things were working there. As a matter of fact, CJ was part of that middle school program when I was doing the
Okay.
middle school stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how things came into play for me at Bolton, in that 4 year span and whatnot.
Okay.
Which was perfect timing, man. Perfect timing. I met a lot of good guys, man, and kind of miss you guys, man. Kind of wondering what's been going on with everyone. Would like to know how everything is going for everyone now.
Yeah, coach. Like you know me, dog. Ever since I got into coaching, man, you and Coach Wells was the first two people that I called. Like the first two people I called. Once I wanted to make this switch,
Yeah,
and I was I was I was getting into the real world, like
yeah,
finishing up in school, getting ready to go into the real world. Like had a job coming out of college, and then like something just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like having a 9 to 5 ain't it. Like If you ain't in love with what you're doing, dog, it don't mean as much. And so,
It's a big
and
difference.
y'all was literally the first two people I called. I was like, dang. And so,
And
full circle moment.
that's why I used to tell you guys all the time, man, like at some point, you as a player, the football is going to go away. And what are you
Hmm.
willing to do? What are you ready to do after that? And of course, it's going to hit. It's going to happen to everyone. It happened to me. It happened to you, and it's going to happen to everyone that's coming past it. So, the thing is, success wise, what do you do after you put that football down, or what are your plans? And a lot of people don't plan.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
for me, that's a heartbreaker. I never understood why people do that. And I used to always think, well, where did I go wrong? I taught them this, I taught them that. Why did they not do anything with it? But I
Hmm.
also learned, man, older guy told me that if you can touch one, you've done your job.
Yep.
I always felt like that wasn't enough. I'm touching too many people for me to say, man, if I get one, I've done my job. But as I got older, I understood that.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, makes a big difference. So if you don't mind me asking, on the sports side of things, how did you get into sports? When did you get started?
Everything kind of started for me when probably about 8 to 10 years old. I'm the youngest out of 13. That's what a lot of folks don't know about me. But
Okay,
I had an older sibling on my mother's side that like he was Superman to me, and still to this day, my older brother Eric is Superman to me, and I looked at and idolized everything that he did, and I was a trouble kid coming up. Always was into stuff, like always into like fighting and doing this and doing that, and kind of was just all over the place. And I needed something. I needed an outlet where I could kind of control my anger and kind of like be
hmm,
redirected into another path. And so karate wasn't it, basketball wasn't it, baseball wasn't it. And so my brother was just like, dog, like you gonna play football. Either you gonna do football or you gonna do wrestling. I was like, I don't really like wrestling. And so I went right into football because I always went everywhere with him. I
right,
was attached to his hip. My mama didn't let me didn't let him go anywhere without me. And so I was fortunate, like very fortunate to be just on his hip all the time.
okay,
Um, like following my brother around, like when he was in middle school, when he was in high school, and like man, it was all over the place. 'Cause my uncle, Charles Savage was a coach, and at the time when I really started like really falling in love, like my brother was finishing up at Chickasaw Middle School
okay,
and get ready to pick a school to go somewhere, and he ended up at Overton High School, and so out east, and so we ended up going to school there, and then from day one, like I went in there and like with my brother, just attached to his hip. My older brother is 7 years older than me, and so I just went everywhere with him and watching him and everything, like with his teammates and everything. And so I tried to idolize everything they did. And
right.
so that's kind of how it all got started for me.
That's crazy, man. And it's funny how you just listen to some of the stories, man, and how guys got started and where it came
Hmm.
from, and then the
Yeah,
path that you go after that and what you accomplish. Uh,
yeah,
it's so many guys, man, that have different stories on why they did it, but they didn't necessarily stick with it. And it's
yeah,
it's unfortunate, but when you find guys that don't stick with it, it's the little simple things like that that you realize in life. Those are the same guys that's struggling now
yeah,
because they didn't take the little small things like that and stuck with it and went through the whole process.
yeah,
So it's just good, man, to be able to elaborate on some of the things that you've done and find out the path on how people started and how they got to where they are now.
hmm,
Oh man, good story. Good story to hear. So just looking back 2008 is when you graduate. I think we started
Mhm.
2006, 2007, or somewhere around that area.
Mhm. Mhm.
So between football and track, I basically kind of work hands on with you. Can you give me a little input on how things were for you as an athlete under me?
Okay. So one thing, one thing that stuck out to me the most is how how you was with your son. So that stuck out to me the most. Stuck out to me the most because like looking at my older brother and being attached to his hip like everywhere he went. And then coming along as a young athlete, like of course like years before watching coaches and things of that nature, like you didn't see the same thing.
Hmm.
And so um seeing my position coach every day, every day at some point, like his son coming up to the practice and like seeing that from the get go, I was like, man, I don't have anything but respect for
Right.
somebody that shows that type of like leadership.
Yeah.
And so the thing that always stuck with me too is like what something my father always told me is govern yourself accordingly and always observe the people that do the same.
Hmm.
And I was like, yes, sir. And I carried that with me. And so you coming on as my position coach, my offensive position coach at that for football, um, I took that as a nugget that my father gave me, and I just used it every time.
Hmm.
And when I would hear you speak, you always looked for one. You always looked at us in our eyes. Even if you had those sunglasses on, you could feel it. Like you could feel it. Like she's talking and looking through my soul. And so that
Right.
eye contact always stuck with me. And that eye contact always, all right, he's telling me to do this for a reason.
Hmm.
And I remember the first thing thinking, like, I think I overheard a conversation you was speaking to somebody. I can't remember who it was. I think it was maybe Guffin, like Gerald Guffin or somebody.
Hmm.
Because he was going through the process, getting ready to go to college and everything, playing running back, and he was running track and stuff too. And so, I think I overheard you having a conversation with him about like taking it to that next level or something of that sort.
Hmm.
And you like showed him a picture or something of you playing, and he kind of just, I think I remember him just looking at you like yeah, I got you, coach, or something around that nature. And so, like going from football to track, one thing you understand and you learn as a young athlete, you kind of start to like learn patterns.
Hmm.
And so, like your intensity level, how you coach it, your mannerisms never change. They was always the same. You was always 100 with us. Like you was foot to throat every day.
Yeah.
And I respected it 100%. I was like, man, it ain't no God in this, dog. Of course, as a young high school athlete, like, you wanna venture off and do something like that. Like nah, dog, that's over.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. Yeah, man, and of course, going to a school where there's a very diverse high school.
Yeah.
But of course, it's a majority of white schools out in the country in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Of course, you're gonna get that stigma where like there's not a lot of black athletes at that school,
Hmm.
and then it's not a lot of black adults in the school, educated in the school, and so when you go to a school like that in the middle of nowhere, walking in the hoodie, you automatically think like this is a different type of place,
Hmm.
and so like getting told by somebody who look like me and getting held accountable by somebody that's like your father too. Like that goes a long way. Like I still remember it was a hot summer, like hot summer, it's probably I think we had just graduated, probably going into uh our senior year, and
Okay.
the Max was having a bad day. Having a bad day. He's like, all right, what y'all want to do? So y'all see them 4 corners? We gonna run the X. So we just ran it in the winter of the track. Hey man, it was full pass. Like it was probably 97 degrees. I remember like Mike went first, Kenny went second. Uh, uh, yeah, this was in my senior year. Greg Sally was over there.
Okay.
Me, it was somebody else. It was a younger guy. There was probably like I can't remember, but I just remember. I can't remember who it was that was going to like ball carrier like drill and like switching hands, and somebody kept dropping or somebody was like just nonchalant, like going nonchalant through the drill. It was
Right.
like, okay, like you never yelled, like you was just always getting really close to us, getting really close to us, and tell us what was on your mind.
Uh, there was no other way, man. There was no other way.
With no other way.
And it's funny you say that because to some, they may feel like it was a lot, but, and to some of y'all just took it as if, man, come on, let's get it together.
Yeah.
And that's why I always look back on it and say, man, some people are a little more weak-minded than others. Not to say they can't handle it, but they handle it a little different. And that could be the reason why you not successful the way you want to be, or not as much as someone else. I look back on it when you guys were playing, man, and what I came into was something different, but I knew what I was there for, and I knew I told you guys what my goal was. And if you wanted to make it to the college level, that's what I'm here for. And I always felt like I had y'all back 110% as long as you do what you did.
Absolutely.
And to know that some of y'all actually went on and played at that higher level, it makes me feel good. Like I tell people all the time, I don't need a pat on the back, man. I did it and I want someone else to do it. And then I hope that they reach out and help the next person do it. So, and with that being said, you went on to play at Lane College. You played a year and a half, 2 years or so under me at Bolton as a running back. You went on to play college ball and you were successful on that level and you came out coaching. So for me, that's where my joy comes from. And it goes back to that deal when I say, when an old head told me, if you can make a difference in one, you've done your job. I get it now. I totally get it now because now, if you elaborate a little bit on it before we get off, but you went through the trenches, you went through everything, the good and the bad. And I feel like you as a fullback and a D line and came out to run track. That's really unheard of. But I used to tell the head coach all the time, send me all the skilled guys and let them run for me. And you'll see the difference when it's time to play football. Well, it happened. And it's not like I say, I don't need a pat on the back for that. I just know we were a speed team. And we need to utilize what we have, and it made a big difference of what we were able to accomplish because of that. So with that being said, after leaving Bolton, you went to Lane College. Just elaborate a little bit on how that helped you out, and then what you started doing after college.
Man, so like, I'm a running back my senior year. I remember walking into the and sitting down to giving you a list of like 20 to 25 schools from JUCO, NAIA, and like, because Like there was a couple like Division One schools and stuff too,
Hmm.
and you kept it completely 100 with it. Lane College was not even to this day. It wasn't not even.
Okay.
And I remember you asking me like, "Do you remember what your GPA is? Do you know what your test score is?" And I was like, "Damn." And I was like, "Ah, Coach, I think he's like a two something." And you looked at me, and you like, "What was your test score?" Like a 17. And you looked at me, you took that pencil and just crossed it. Like I was like, "Dang, like I can't do this shit go nowhere." And you was like, "Oh, it's just me being 100 with you."
Yeah.
And like you circled probably two or three schools. And I think at the time I had just finished up my highlight tape, like dubbing DVDs, and like after that day, I probably sent 30 to 40 DVDs in my highlight tape,
Okay.
and I didn't get anything back but one. And that was at a JUCO Boston College. That's probably like 2 hours away from 2 to 3 hours away from where I
Right.
live now. I remember looking on the map. I was like, "Oh, they sent me a letter. I'm going here." I remember coming like, "Coach, I'm going this JUCO. Da, 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 da. You can't do it. Congratulations." Blah, blah, blah. I hadn't received the acceptance letters, like interest letters.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going here." Big dummy. And I remember going. My dad was like, "Yeah, Pop, I'm going here." Da, da, da. He was like, "Where?" He's like 7.5 hours away from this. He's like, "Nah, dog, you ain't going there.
That's not happening. Right.
That ain't happening. You going to Lane College. Matter of fact, freshman orientation this weekend." I'm like, dang. But fast forward a little bit. At that time, of course, this is like after football season, like track season, everything. Like
Uh-huh.
the work ethic and the things that we did and the extra times and stuff that we did as far as like working out extra and all the stuff like work prepared for track season. I was a field guy. I threw the shot putting in this, and I'm
Uh-huh.
out here running with Mike and Rod. And I'm just like in my head, like, "Dog, I gotta train, I gotta work." I said, "Man, I'm finna do something like I'm finna blah blah blah. I gotta figure something out." And so everything, everything that we did, I remember doing it like after the season was over with and going into the summer, and I had got accepted into Lane and all of this jazz, and I ended up going to Lane. And when I got on that campus, I walked into the coach's office.
Hmm.
I walked in the coach's office, and the coach was like, because Lane was a open enrolled school where
Right.
their enrollment was based off of numbers,
Okay.
and so I had the GPA to be eligible, but I didn't have the test score to be fully eligible. So I was a partial guy.
Yeah.
And so the head coach at the time was like, "All right, dog, you could be on the practice squad. Like you can get your head beat in. I ain't gonna have no money for you, but if this what you want to do, you just make sure you just make sure I see you in the off season." I'm just like, "Yes, sir."
Yeah.
And so when school actually started, that's because I that was at the freshman orientation. When school actually started, like Lane didn't have a track, and so I would walk up to JCM. I would walk up the JCM track, which like
St. Mary.
a mile. Yeah, walk up to JCM, walk up to that concrete track up there, and I had a Nike Spark weighted vest, uh, um, one of them vests, and I used to just go up there and just run, and I would walk back to the school, go lift,
Yeah.
run, lift, run, and everything that y'all taught us in high school, I just kept the same workout. I just kept that same workout until um the following year came, and I was technically officially on the team
Okay.
as a walker. but like them winners that winter at first, winter off season, like I just remember like going through that. I was like, dog, like I had somebody back home that invested in me, like, but I also had like I remember like I had two conversations. It was a conversation with you and a conversation with Coach Welch,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, and I was pissed at the world at Coach Welch forever. When I say forever. But I understood, like a lot of people didn't like Coach Wilson. Coach Wilson kept it 102
Yeah.
in his own way.
Yep.
And so, um, I remember going to him and was like, Coach, well, why you ain't pulling me out of class? Why you ain't like, I want to go somewhere and play college football. He looked at me straight in my face and said, son, I don't think you can play at the Division 1 level. I don't think you can play at the D2 level.
Hmm.
JUCOs are for guys that don't make it academically. They're highly recruited. They don't rivals and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and they go JUCO. And I was just like, dang. So I was mad at the world at him forever, all the way up and all the way up until like I made the team, and I was still a little pissing a little vinegar a little bit.
Right.
After, because I remember after I was on the team, after my first season, I came back in the summer and I came up there working out of school. Me and Kenny and Josh came back up to the schools up there working out on the track. And he came out there like, "What you working out for?" And I was like, "Well, coach, I just finished my first season. I started 9 out of 10 games last year at fullback." He was like, "What?" I said, "Yes, sir." I walked on. I made the team, and and yeah. And I looked him square in his face, and I appreciate you telling me what I can't do. I needed that.
Wow.
And he just looked at me. He looked at me. He shook my hand, and I kind of looked at him in his face, and just like, "Nah, I can't stand you, bro." And like that, like at that moment, like that was so. I felt like I was on top of the world,
Refreshing. Yeah.
and like because like I was pissed,
Yeah.
I said, dang, man, I don't believe in me, man. I dedicated my life to Boston football. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like Boston football was everything to me. And for you to tell me that I can't do something, like,
Right. Yeah.
and like to this day, I have nothing but love for Coach Brooks.
Yeah.
Like for y'all both, like holding me accountable, like even if it came off as it being negative, like it was really just fuel to the fire of something that I needed to hear.
Right.
And so um I carried that with me. And that same fire, like I like still like to this day as a coach now, like I keep it 100 with the kids.
Yeah.
Cause I had people that keep it 100 with me, and I tell the kids straight up like, hey dog, like it ain't gonna happen if you ain't about it.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
he's like, if you ain't truly about it, like, cause like it is not easy.
And I'm
It
not
is not.
I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you facts
Yeah,
because
real.
that's what it's gonna be on the other end once you get or try to get where you're trying to go.
Mhm.
So it's either you in with it or you not. So there's no reason,
Mhm.
and that's the problem now with a lot of these coaches and just people of authority. Now they tell the kids what they want to hear. I don't have time for that. I mean,
Mhm. I ain't sugarcoat nothing. Nope.
right? And I look at when I was at Jackson State and when I was doing some of the things I was doing, a lot of it just came from what I saw and what I knew
Mhm.
not to do. I look at what you were doing wrong, so I wouldn't do wrong. I didn't have
Mhm.
that per se guidance in my corner to lead me step by step. I had offers from University of Arkansas. I had offers from Michigan State, and my mom was like, "You think I'm gonna let you go that far away?" Tuskegee University, black school, wanted me, and she was like, "You're not going to Alabama." So I'm thinking like, what do I get the opportunity to do then? You telling me I can't do this, I can't do that, and I wonder to this day if I had to took Arkansas scholarship, if I had to took Michigan State, what would have happened? But I tell
Mhm.
people all the time, I don't regret it because that was before the family life got started. And if I had have done that, then my whole family situation, my marriage would be totally different. You know, my life would have been totally different. So I don't know what it would have been. So I don't regret the path that I took. But when I took the path that I did, I said, if I get into sports training, if I get into coaching, I want to teach these kids the things that most people don't teach or don't tell you to experience. And that way you can have a leeway on trying to get where you're trying to go. And that's how I've always been, you know, regardless of the age, middle school, high school, like you got to just put it out there and let them know this is probably what you're going to walk into. Now, I'm not saying to make you afraid, but if I am, you may not be ready for
Yeah, absolutely.
it. Yeah. So, man, you know, it's all about how they take it and how you look at it because I give guys, when I went to college, you know, my mom, of course, went with me to drop me off. It was all peaches and cream. And then the next day, all of a sudden, I'm like, whoa, who is this coach? That ain't the one that just agreed to my mom or just told her, hey, we're going to take care of your
Mhm.
baby and all that.
Mhm.
It went out the door. And then,
Mhm.
so I, I saw firsthand a lot of guys, man, that was probably better than me that walked away from it. They wasn't
Mhm.
ready for that.
Oh, dog. Oh, dog. Dog, I got some stories for you.
Well, you know what? That that's something, man. We gonna come back on the podcast and man, we're gonna have to talk about stuff like that because these are the things, man, that I don't think these kids realize. Like I have stories, and I know people behind me have stories, and I wanted to get out there so they can get understand. Like you say, you want to play college ball, you say you want to play on the professional level, but man, this thing is much bigger than just every now and then going out there and getting a workout in. Like your life become 100% all the time that sport.
Mhm.
And I tell them all the time, like your personal life is over when you get to college and want to do this as a sport because it's a
Yeah.
job, man.
Yeah.
And this is where your commitment has to be. And I haven't even said anything yet about the school portion of it. I'm just talking about
Yeah.
football.
Yeah.
So that man, that itself, man, it's a conversation we could have on a podcast, man, and talk forever about, like seriously.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
That podcast gonna go for about an hour and a half. Gonna go for an hour and a half for real. Cause coach, like
yeah,
coach.
that, that's real there, man, for real. That is real. So, man,
Mhm.
before we get out of here, I would like to wrap it up with this question and ask you, you know, after you experience both and after you play a little college ball and you graduate with your bachelor's and master's, you say, right? So,
Mhm.
what are you doing now?
Coaching. I'm at the Brookhill School in Bullitt, Texas, as the assistant director of athletic development, and assistant football coach, defensive line coach.
Okay, still at it, man. Still
Still
at
at
it.
it.
I love to hear that. Love to hear that. Definitely love to hear that, man. It's crazy because I'm still doing some coaching too. I'm actually uh on the circuit side of basketball with a team with Adidas, Team Nation. I'm the director of the
Mhm.
North Side, so I have 14 U team right now. We're about to have trials for my 15, 16, and 17. And we do a lot of traveling, man. So it's like on the basketball side, I'm still doing my thing. Still coaching 7-on-7 football, like middle school, eighth grade. Really not doing
Mhm.
too much on the high school side right now. Then I got several kids that they want me to start my track program back up. But if not, you know, I still train guys that's running track. So schedule still full for me on the sports side of things, and I hope it stays that way.
Mhm.
But I felt like starting this podcast, man, and talking to you guys about what you experienced and how you experienced and what you got out of it. These are some of the things I want kids to hear, even parents, so they can get an understanding of like it's not a walk in the park. And if any
Mm-hmm.
coach tell you it's gonna be that simple, they're lying to you just to get you through the process. And when you leave, they're gonna tell the next person the same thing. They're not gonna sit down and tell you how hard it really is. And if me
Mm-hmm.
telling you it's gonna be hard and you walk away from it, then it was probably never for you in the beginning anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I want to start this deal, man, and give people a better understanding of what's going on. And who knows, I may get people that call in. I say, hey, can we help? Can I contact you about questions? And we love to answer them. And then if I can't answer them, hopefully I can always get somebody on here that can answer for them.
Yeah.
So that's my whole purpose of getting this started, man. STA Speed Training Academy is what it is now. But I done a lot of stuff before we got started with this, and I just feel like sometime that needs to come back so people can get an understanding of where it all comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So man, I definitely appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast with me again. I would love to get on here, man, and spend an hour or so and talk about some of the story behind.
Man, oh, we got to. We have to. We have to do it.
Definitely, man, definitely. What we'll do, man, we'll get together and figure out each other's schedule. So that way we know it won't be a time constraint on us about how long we have, and then we'll just kind of make it happen.
What's up?
All right, good, man. Thank you again for coming
Yes,
on,
sir.
and we'll be talking
What's
soon.
up?
All
Man,
right.
appreciate it, coach.
Yes, sir. All right, my guy. We'll talk later.
What's up?
All right, take care.